War, 2025, Battle of the Blocks. However, when night fell, that's when the war truly began. Mindless zombies lurking around every corner, hearing the screech and fuse start to go off. Not sure if you or your comrade will explode. The odds of survival are stacked block by block against you. There is one squad, though, that never gave up hope. Black Eagle, also known as Juan, was the scout. Desert Fox, Austin, was the best dam builder the world has ever seen. Hell-roaring Drake gave shivers to even the strongest of enemies. Tin Legs was given to Bryce. He could gather any supply you asked for. And last was Dizzy. Dizzy was Vinny. Dizzy could make anything run and operate, even if he was only given dust. Together, we are your team.
Nice.
Girl, I got them tin legs like you wouldn't
Tin
believe.
legs.
I'm building
that's
shit as
fantastic.
you're giving mine. It's great.
And welcome.
I need stairs.
I love it.
Welcome to episode 5. We are round 13. And tonight's topics, we're going to be talking about war.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
What is everything? Everything good comes from war. No, I'm
What
joking.
is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
All right, so now that we're going to be talking about war,
We got computers from war, technically.
True.
We did.
Cracking codes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that kind of brings
because,
us to our first topic, right? Advances in technology. Mr. Track, why don't you take it
Well,
away?
then, during WW2 in Britain, they were using a very old school method of solving out German spy codes, right? Their codexes or their cryptic messages between each other. We could intercept every code that they had messaged to each other, but we couldn't decode them fast enough for it to be worth anything. So, the first computer was made as a way to quickly decipher German spy codes. And from that, eventually you got the coding languages of today, and C++, Java, so on and so forth. But if it hadn't been for war, war is what pushed the advance of it.
True. I think what I find fascinating about World War II is obviously we used a computer. I guess we can't even call it a computer. We used a machine to help crack us codes, like you were saying, cryptic codes from Germans to Germans. And what we used was the people that we stole our country from. We used the Navajo language because it was almost impossible to break without understanding any of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good old
Talkers.
Indians.
Yeah, that was
Good old
used a
Tonka.
lot for pilots, right?
Yep. Pilots, submarines, stuff like that. Yeah, crazy shit, dude.
Ship captains.
Yep. And and the Germans and the Japanese especially, they were getting so frustrated because they could not understand. Because obviously, it's not based off like any sort of Latin or any sort of like old language that we can think of as most of the languages are today. So I can imagine why that would be incredibly frustrating. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Did
I
anyone
know,
else find out?
I took a class, and specifically what made it hard to like decode the language is, and there's a bunch of examples of this, is they would tell each other, like they knew parts of the language, but they knew what would they do? They said something like "steel bird," right? That was the code that they would say over the radio, "steel bird," but it meant submarine.
Ah.
Interesting.
But you wouldn't know that unless you knew the language, and that was what made it so difficult.
Right.
Did anyone else find out about the language during middle school? Reading that one book, The Code Breakers?
Actually, no. Why don't you tell us about it? If you
Well,
remember. Because we all know
Let's see, it's
reading
about
is fantastic.
the book Breakers is about a squad of Indians who volunteer in the World War, right? And at first they didn't really think like they were gonna be code breakers or writing this whole new kind of codes for the military. and but at the same time, they didn't know that they were gonna. And it's based off a true story, and throughout the book, we see just little segments of their stories of how they felt about them using their own language in war, and a lot of the family members didn't like the idea of their language being used for war, and I guess it deals a lot with how they manage with doing all of this with their families and stuff. Yeah, it was a pretty good book read.
It's pretty crazy.
Kind of the flip
Could
side of
imagine
that.
that.
Have you guys seen? Yeah, flip side of that story though. Have you guys seen the movie about the physical invention of that computer that we were just talking about? No, I shouldn't call it a computer. I keep wanting to call it a computer, but it's a machine that decoded, obviously, German messages. It had Alfred Cumberbatch in it, or not Alfred Cumberbatch. What's his face? The guy that plays
Benedict
Sherlock. You know who?
Cumberbatch.
Yes, Benedict. Thank you.
Benedict.
And God, I cannot think of the movie's name right now, but it's worth watching. It is actually kind of fascinating because there's like the whole development of that machine and you know how it was used in war and the problems of the guy that invented it and so on and so forth. But same thing, advances in technology due to war. Gotta love it, right?
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things for advancements is in World War One, they actually developed the first pilotless drone in 1916. I don't know if you guys
What?
knew that. Yeah. It was originally
know that.
an unmanned aerial bomb. Essentially, it was a cruise missile, right? It was the first unmanned flight in history. So just seeing, you know, these old machines where people in 1916, literally 100 years ago, are like, hey, let's do these drone things, right? And then you look now at Global Hawk, where you can literally pilot anywhere. You know,
Mhm.
it's just it's
Yeah.
astounding.
The first submarine was invented during Civil War here in the United States.
That is true.
Well, what they
Yep.
claim was the first one. It might have came out. Somebody might have made it a long time before, but the first one was made during the Civil War. Eventually, it was found again. And it turns out that everybody on it had suffocated to death because they didn't have any way of changing out the air, so it just got filled with CO2 just from us, the people inside of it breathing, and they all suffocated.
Classic, am I right? But you live and you learn, and then sometimes you die and you learn. So it's just it's a process.
And
dude.
sometimes you don't. Sometimes you live and you learn,
Yeah.
and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, another thing that's pretty cool for like advancements, right, was the use of gas bombs, right? Mustard gas, poison gas, nerve gas.
No, dude.
You know, World War One, where it all, right, obviously, in the trench battles,
Yeah.
you know, you throw over your poison gas, but just seeing the advancement where everyone nowadays is like, ooh, you know, we should probably not do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta
That
think,
was-
they invented a weapon, or in this case, a substance that was so deadly that it's literally illegal to use in war. Like, I didn't realize,
Yeah.
first off, that war had rules.
War had
'cause-
rules?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
War has
but,
rules.
But that's like just a gentleman's, re-rack, so to speak, on
Agreement.
war.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
It is,
Gentleman's
dude. That's
re-rack.
it is. It's a gentleman's
You're not
re-rack.
wrong.
bro. Tell me I'm wrong.
We
Yeah.
won't hit you with our mustard gas if you don't hit us with yours. Pretty much what it
yeah,
Well,
is.
essentially,
we
and
call
it's
them
almost like
motherfuckers.
with those, what was it, like the serrated blades too, that, like once you cut
Made
into
it
them
like
and you pull
impossible
out
to
to
yeah.
stitch up, yeah, those
Makes
are
me
also-
wonder if they even have modern gas bombs today.
Oh, they have to.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
Somebody's got one.
If someone breaks the rule, you know, the gentleman's
You
rule
know,
is
someone's
over.
just the gentleman's rule is over. Well, and that actually kind of brings me to my next point, kind of on the topic, but not really, because you got to think from like World War One to World War Two, we didn't use any more severe gases like that. But then even from World War Two to like Vietnam, we developed like stuff like napalm, like especially in Vietnam, where we're just tearing up the countryside with stuff that's so hot that it literally, not it doesn't just light trees on fire; it melts trees, and people are melting
That's
and
what I
stuff
like.
like that. Yeah, dude, you gotta love it. But I'm just saying, the development, as far as like where we came from, where we went, dude. I was even thinking World War One was the first time the flamethrower was seen, wasn't it?
Yep,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that
And the
was
trenches
invented in
Sounds
Germany.
right.
Yeah. So it's like
Yep.
maybe we just like lighting shit on fire
1901.
as a culture, as like a humanity, you know. That's
Yep.
it.
Another thing, kind of going back in the day was tracer bullets. That actually started in World War One.
I
Really?
did not know that actually.
Yep.
Now, remind me, the tracer
British
bullets back in the
inventor.
day,
I mean, obviously they're not like what they were now,
right?
but
But they
it's
were
just
like,
astounding that people could think of things like this.
Sure. Because I'm trying to think, back in the day, wasn't it like they added just a little bit of paint to like or not the shell casing, but the physical bullet itself, so when you shot it, it would like streak, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay, yeah. That being said, dude, I don't know. That shit's kind of crazy because it's not like super advanced technology, but it's like super creative, you know? I don't know.
So now that
Yeah,
we kind of
no,
talk about
for
the
sure.
past, right? What do you think about future advancements?
I think
You
we're
know,
gonna start fighting
especially
all our
with
battles
the
with
whole-
a goddamn robot, or it'll be cyber
Not even
warfare.
that.
Like steal my Bitcoin.
What about
I don't
space?
know. I don't
It's
know.
'cause
No,
space
I think
warfare.
space is off limits because think of
Dude,
of Ronald Reagan's years in office. He had that whole Star Wars project where he wanted to drop what were they, like giant metal poles, but they would be from space. No, I'm not even kidding you. This isn't bullshit. He wanted to drop these giant metal rods from space, and they were only like 30 feet long or something like that, and like 5
But they had
feet
enough
wide.
kinetic energy
the
to wipe out an
exactly,
entire
the
city.
momentum. Exactly, the momentum would be stronger than a nuclear weapon because they're just dropping it from what, like 70 miles up, 80 miles up, 90 miles up, something like that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's not even any actual explosive there. It's just you're dropping something from so high. It's like dropping a
Have you
bowling
guys-
ball off the Empire State Building, you know?
Have you guys ever played Black Ops 2?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's the closest to future war that we're gonna come to.
You think so?
Yeah.
So that. The
I'm
other reason
just
why I
waiting
bring up
for it
space,
to become
right, is-
obsolete. Space?
Speaking of future wars and such, have you guys heard about this new war that I've just read some facts about it recently. I'm just gonna read it to you.
The war on
So
terrorism. Just kidding.
it's a different one. I just barely learned about it. But America, us, we're sending in our top and most specialized task force, I suppose. They're gonna collect 6 pieces of intelligence in opposition of a foreign invasion. Although little is publicly known about the enemy, we do know that there is one key leader of the organization.
China.
Russia. North Korea.
Kim Jong Un.
Tell me it's.
Jorge.
baby.
That's gonna be the Infinity War.
Africa. Oh,
Oh god, that was a terrible game.
Wow. Wow. I am
I thought the
disappointed.
6 pieces of intelligence were gonna give it away.
I am disappointed. I will not lie to you.
yeah,
Shame.
swinging the
Shame
bits,
on me.
man. Goddamn.
It was good. It was good.
It'd be funnier if, it was, it's fine. I'm just kidding.
I don't know, laugh about it
So,
later.
fun fact,
Secret
did you
wars.
know that Hitler actually created the largest gun ever?
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the land cannon.
Please
It-
elaborate.
And
it could
it
fire like
was
70 miles or something like that, couldn't it?
Yeah,
well,
something like
let's just
that.
say it was a total disaster. It did not work. However,
Oh,
it was the
okay.
biggest gun ever invented. Right? It was called the Gustav. Or the Gustav. It was 4 stories high, 150 feet long, weighing in at just well over a half a ton, and it shot 10,000-pound shells out of the fucking
Yikes.
bore of the gun.
If that thing worked, that'd cause some serious devastation, though. Straight up.
I think
Imagine
it had
that
to be
thing.
longer. No, seriously, I think it needed to be longer.
It required a crew of 2,000 people to operate, and it can only be used on railway like railroads.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
the easiest
makes
way.
sense.
Oh my god.
It,
That is
it could
awesome.
fire 14 rounds a day, literally
Wow.
around an hour.
So
But yeah,
back
fun fact
during
for that.
WW2, what basically ruled the skies was, or ruled the battlefield was planes, right? And back then we were
Yeah,
using
right.
prop planes, right? Before
Pretty
we
much, yeah.
had like turbofans and like jet engines and that kind of stuff, where they use like turbines to run it. Before the war ended, or just slightly before the war ended, Germans had a turbine-driven plane that they could have used, but it wasn't like sent into production until after the war was finished. And during the war, the United States actually had like basically a large meeting with all their engineers, and I can't remember the name of the group. I probably could look it up, figure it out. But basically, it's the smartest people in the United States, all the top engineers, and they basically said a turbine-driven plane is not feasible and should not be looked into. And that was in like 1940, I believe. I can double check my facts, but I have a paper that has that, where they're saying, yeah, you shouldn't put any money into this. And the guy that invented the first like turbofan plane said, well, I'm glad that I didn't know this.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
It's kind of interesting to
Where did you
look
how
back
do you
and
know
be like,
about that?
because I'm taking a class called gas turbine engines, and my professor is a giant nerd that loves freaking gas turbine engines and gas turbine and like planes. So that was like our first lecture was like, yeah, so these were invented in this year by this guy, and then he gave us that full story.
You know, the other kind of interesting thing to think about during World War II is because we had so many men going overseas to fight the battle. Obviously, you know, to think we were producing so many airplanes, jeeps, and we were even building warships like within 8 weeks. You know, like these giant, massive boats that are still, some of them are still being used today.
Yeah.
The craziest thing to me is that it was also kind of like the development of women in the workforce. You know what I mean? And they kind of just proved that anything men can do, women can do too. But it was also kind of fascinating because seriously, the output at which our country was building machines of war was unreal. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time in history where we've been as productive as World War II, and that's why our economy, I think, boomed for a while, is because we were putting out so much for this war, and obviously there's all taxpayer money, yada yada. Well, we can go into that discussion another day. But even the
also a good
advancements
amount of
just
that
from
was
that standpoint, yeah.
A good amount of that was just because now they had multiple income families, whereas like
Sure.
before it was like the man had to be the breadwinner, and now you had people or both of the parties trying to get money for the family.
Sure.
You won?
Yeah.
Get like an orb from that guy?
Not sure. Yes.
Can I have it? Don't throw it. Just drop it on the ground.
So kind of
Let's
moving to
throw
what
it.
you were talking about, Austin. When do you think war will be obsolete?
I think
I don't think it'll
will
ever
basically
be obsolete.
it's gonna come obsolete when they stop sending people into war. I mean, it's all just like drones and people on the back lines that are like just killing each other. Then it becomes a massive video game and there's no like real consequences. Okay, so the United States just lost 30 million robots. China lost 150 billion robots. Due to a lack of robots, United States wins. We'll meet back up here in 5 to 10 years. Play the next round.
Well,
feel
I
like
don't know. I
totally
think we always-
disagree with that.
Yeah. First off, we always pick fights with countries that have no money, so they'll always be sending people in. We'll just be sending robots in. You know, there's a difference.
I'm fine with that.
That's true.
And that's why I don't think it'll ever be obsolete, because we're just bound to police the world for the rest of eternity. And we can do so because we have the biggest spending budget for defense. Gotta love it.
Till fucking China calls its
I
debts
wouldn't-
and like, bitch, pay up.
Dude, I don't care if China ever calls its debts. You know for a fact we're never paying that shit. And I know for a fact that that's not a war they're going to win. Yeah, they have more people, but the amount of technology we've put into war because of the experience that we have with war, which sounds shitty, I don't think they'd ever beat us straight up.
Did you call it China or
I don't think they
China?
would.
Because if you called it China, that's
Uh,
hilarious.
both?
Either way.
China.
Either way. It's the same shit. I don't know.
China.
Same shit, different day.
I mean, I just feel like we're crazy enough. I mean, we're not as crazy as the Russians. We all know that.
No,
I just feel like
yeah.
we're crazy enough that other countries aren't going to come mess with it just because we've dropped the nuclear bombs before. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Do they want to repeat?
everyone else has nukes, but I feel like we have so much technology and nukes that it all sort of comes together. It's like, well, you can nuke us, but we have like so many bombs and so much surface area that like you're gonna really have to send a bunch of them out at once to really do a bunch of damage. Otherwise, we're just gonna retaliate.
Right.
And it's gonna, you know, well, sure, we're gonna have a big hole in the middle of our country, but you know, your entire country is gonna be gone because you launched the first nuke.
All they have to do is aim for Yellowstone. Straight up.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's pretty much do it.
that's what I always say.
But
just
I'm
show
gonna
us.
be honest with you. I mean, in kind of going back to World War II again. I hate to keep going back, but the whole development of the nuclear bomb, the whole reason we won that war is because we developed it faster than.
God
Germany
damn
did.
it! Sorry, I died.
Ah,
And then
First
the
death.
fact that I think the scary thing about us actually dropping those bombs, obviously those were the only two that we even had. But the scary thing about it was I don't think we fully realized the potential of what it was going to do. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, we had
Yeah.
no idea the destructive power. I mean, well, of course we had an idea, but I don't think we thought it would claim as many lives as it did. And I think after two of them, yeah, I wouldn't want to continue that war either if I was Japan. And I think that's why the Axis fell so quickly after that. But I don't know. It almost begs
Yeah, I'm
the
sure that's
question-
exactly what happened.
It almost begs the question, though, like, back in the day, had we have known the devastation that weapon could have caused, do you think that we would have used it? Because I don't think so. I think
No.
the war would have raged on for several more years because we would have been unwilling to... Although I guess we used two of them, so we didn't learn from the first time. Does that make us naturally evil? I don't know.
they almost gave up before we dropped the bombs, and then there was a miscommunication, and we dropped them.
They're like, don't do it.
Yeah,
They're like, do it. Don't do it. Go do it.
Like, somebody just didn't get like a thing at the time where Japan was, or not, Japan. There we go. Word's good. Japan was like, okay, so we're willing to meet for negotiations of surrender,
Drop the bomb.
and we dropped the bomb because it didn't get to the people fast enough to be like, so they're gonna surrender. Don't drop this.
But we dropped two of them.
I think it was actually
And it
after
was
the first
pretty
one.
spread out.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
okay. Yeah, I was about to say. Because... I was about to say,
Now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it
I'm
must
sure.
have been the second one that they were like, okay, we're done. Like,
Well,
when
to
you
be fair, I wouldn't
accidentally
wanna
drop the
continue.
loogie on your little brother when you're doing the spit and suck it back in. Oh, I give up. You could have my cookie. Okay, and then you accidentally lose it.
Whoops.
The other kind of crazy thing to think about is, like, that shit is considered weak nowadays. Like, the bombs that we dropped back in the day, that's nothing, dude. Like, the
Yeah.
bombs that we have now are like 50, 100 times bigger than that.
So the
And
most
devastation
powerful
is-
bomb is actually developed by the Russians. Go figure. Fucking Russians.
The Tsar.
Yep,
The Tsar,
the Tsar
something
bomb.
like that.
Yep, the Tsar bomb. It is. Let me see here. I want to say it's like 100 times more powerful. The Tsar Bomba. That is it. It is the most powerful weapon. It is 50 megatons of TNT. It has a maximum yield of 100 megatons.
Pussy shit.
Just to kind of put
That's
that in
so big.
perspective, right?
Shit. Didn't we just drop basically a Moab on some?
No, it was stronger than
Oh, the
Moab.
Moab. Forgot about
Another
the Moab.
Oh,
Wow.
No,
we
we
did
dropped-
just drop the Moab in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, we dropped the
you are,
Moab.
You are correct. Yes, sorry. I thought you were asking if comparing the first nuclear weapon to the Moab, and I was like,
Oh no. I
that's-
was just I
those
was
are
thinking
slightly
in
different.
recent history.
Yes, recent
Yes.
history we did. And yeah, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big bomb. It's not something I
Just to let you know, in perspective, right? So the Tsar bomb can yield 100 megatons, right?
Yeah.
The bomb at Hiroshima was 15 kilotons.
Oh.
This is megatons.
For people
Damn.
that don't understand units, that's 1,000 times bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're looking at a factor of almost, I want to say 10,000 times.
Yeah.
It's like watching your girlfriend come home with a black guy.
Yeah, essentially.
That's worse. That's worse than
That's
that.
worse. That's worse.
Oh. We need to start a
I think the even crazier thing, just as far as like technological advances go in warfare,
Here.
is that like look at just like our tanks and stuff and our planes and like the jump in technology. I would even just use planes as an example, just to make this easy. Like from World War II, we were still flying prop planes. By 20 years later, we had jets like the F4 Phantom and stuff like that. That's insane. I mean, the cruising range, the speed, the amount of armament you can put on these planes because they have so much power, they can actually lift it off the ground. And the fact that, we now have planes that today that, fighter jets that can, strike ship from almost 1,000 miles away because they just, stealth technology and fucking cruising range and all that bullshit. It's insane. I don't know. To me, maybe it's just insane to me, but
No,
No,
it's
You're
it
going
absolutely
faster.
is. Like the Blackbird, they
Yes.
decommissioned it, but the Blackbird could make it across the country in like an hour.
three
That is
hours.
Even faster than that.
Wait, no, you
3
are
hours,
right.
I
It,
don't-
it was an hour.
it's
It was
like an hour, 'cause it's like-
64 minutes or something
Yeah.
like that. They hit
It's
like
4
Mach
hours from
3.7.
California to Florida normally,
Yeah,
and
they
then like
hit
it was all stealthy and everything. It's just unbelievable.
Learned about that in my airplanes class. They were allowed to go all out and it crossed the country in like 64 minutes or something, and it hit like Mach 3.7 was the average.
that's
Speed?
absolutely insane. That is
And it was like
absolutely insane.
would go
That number
virtually
is
undetected.
oh yeah.
That number is unfathomable.
It flew
People should not be able to
subsonic.
travel this. No, people should not be able to travel that fast. The fact that we have the technology to move that fast at all, mind-blowing.
That's
It really is.
all brought to you by an engineer.
Yeah.
Isn't everything? I mean, right?
All the cool shit.
I mean, all this shit. Someone, like engineers are inventors, Like I feel like all the shit is brought by an engineer of some sort.
Want to make more chests?
Yeah, no, it's insane what we have come. So yeah, I don't think they'll ever become obsolete. Especially
like
with the
it'll
war
make-
propaganda.
It'll be pretty
and
hard.
everything. No.
Leaps of advancement, but never obsolete. There's always going to be something to fight about.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Well, yeah. I think the other kind of fucked up. I mean, I don't want to go too much into World War II, but I mean, sometimes I can't tell if we're the good guys or the bad guys. I'm not saying that we were the bad guys then, but like our country was still supplying, like Ford, the company I work for, was still supplying oil to the Germans for their Jeeps, and like I don't know. It just seems like everyone's
It's politics, man.
it's politics and it's greed, a lot of it, I think. And I kind of think it's like the top 1% of the world just kind of wants to watch the rest of the world burn, in kind of a sense. And I know that sounds like crazy, but
I mean, it's not all that far off. Like,
It's
is
not.
there a reason that we need to be in all these other countries right now?
absolutely
like a legitimate
not. We just
reason?
want,
Like,
no, we just want to police
no.
the world. Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a fight over here. Sure, let's go jump in there for a bit.
There's soy over here.
Eeny,
too?
meeny, miny, I want to
Bonus.
bully you.
One, I need
I
you to
want
help me
American
kill
lives
this.
to be lost.
So,
And I got you.
so with the whole policing the world thing, is it because
Yes.
we see ourselves as a first world country and see ourselves as someplace that like
Can you guys hear me?
has so much money
Hello?
that we can
That's
help
freaking easy.
that we do it, or is it
Sorry, battery's
because we
dead.
believe that we're so much better than every place else that we must do
I
it?
think-
because we're America,
I
we're
don't
better.
think it's because we think we're better. I think it's genuinely because we think we're the only ones capable of doing it, which I don't think is true. And I think because of that, it wastes a lot of our resources doing that, and then other countries just bitch and complain anyways that we're there. I honestly think that the world would have a really tough time if we weren't there all the time. At the same
Yeah.
time, I don't know if we did ever give up that control. I think the people who would take it over next would be 100 times worse, because I think it'd be China, Russia, and when it comes to countries like
Viet
that,
Cong.
yeah, they're going to be, I don't want to say ruthless, but in a sense, I mean, it wouldn't be
Tyrannical.
that far off, I don't think. Yeah.
So you're saying like no one can do better?
I don't know. I think we definitely have the most resources to do it. I just think that if everyone else is going to be a whiny bitch about it, we should just let them fend for themselves, so to speak, and see how
Let them do
far
it.
they get before Russia sticks the dick up their butt. And I think that would happen a lot sooner than most people realize.
A lot sooner.
I 100% agree. I feel like there are a lot of things that we prevent going on because of the crazy and technology factors. It's like,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
if like we could go invade this other country and just take it over, but damn it, America's gonna get in the way. America's gonna show up there eventually.
And I don't necessarily know if that's because we want peace all the time. That's my problem. I think that's where I struggle. Is I don't know if we're doing it for the right reasons or if we're doing it out of greed. You know what I mean?
We're definitely doing it
So
for
that
the
just-
oil rights, bro.
Probably.
Not even the oil
Um,
rights. It's just, we have to stand tall.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other
What
terrifying
better
thing
way
for...
what better way to stand tall than, hey dude, check out how much firepower I got. It's almost like when you see a lifted truck, right? You're like, yo man, check out how much of a man I am. My truck's way bigger than your truck, dude. Your truck ain't got shit.
My
Well,
dick's
I think
bigger than
another
yours.
thing
I also
can-
feel like
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
there's a level of like defense for the defenseless too. If another country's just gonna move in and like take someone else's
Shit
stuff,
on.
like someone, you gotta have someone on your side to stand in the way.
That shit's been happening for centuries. Why should we stop?
It has been. Because we've learned from our mistakes. So you like the support of just mass genocide happening?
No, I'm
Absolutely.
just saying that
But is it our place to step in? Like, straight
No.
up?
It depends.
Is that
Probably
our fight
not.
to
I
fight?
mean-
I'm genuinely
I
curious.
would say-
And that's the biggest issue I have. That's the biggest issue, and I don't want to get into like a weird political thing, but that's the
We're
biggest
already
issue
there.
I have with and that's the biggest issue I have with the Middle East. I mean, the people, they're yes, there are radicals in every religion, Christianity included, and I get that.
Yes.
But these people are unwilling to stand up for their country and fight for it, and they're letting these terrorists basically give them all a bad name, and B, like I said, they're just unwilling. It's like they're unwilling to.
They're incompetent.
Yeah, they refuse to defend themselves, and you know what? At what point is it our job to genuinely step in? I don't know. I don't know if it's our right, but what are you gonna do? I don't know. I should shut up now because
I'm just gonna sit here and keep playing my war games.
yeah. So I feel like a lot of war games anymore just kind of like portray us as always being like the victors. I get it, like occasionally some games pull it out and are like, oh no, but this group is actually like bad, but they were like an inside sect of this organization, and you're just like, okay. Yeah, I don't know where I was going.
What do you
with
think
this, actually.
No, you're fine. What do you think our biggest loss What do you think our biggest loss was as far as every war we've ever been in? Straight up.
Oh. So, loss of life, I would give it to, definitely Civil War, but, like, loss of, like, we shouldn't have been there, and we were just there because we...
Vietnam.
What?
Yeah,
Yep.
I was gonna say.
I already knew where
no.
you were going with that shit. Yep.
I don't know. I've also heard stories from people that went to Vietnam and were, like, part of the troops there, and
Sure.
it turned into just a political warfare where,
It did.
oh, a lot of the bombings or running anything had to be put through, like, somebody, and then it was like, and they'd negotiate for, like, better random bullshit, and it was just like,
You brought up a good point, though. I mean, like, talking about troops and everything, I fully support the military and the troops and such.
Oh,
and I don't want any part of
absolutely.
this conversation to make it feel like that we don't.
Support them?
I have a lot of friends here that are.
I mean, it's
members of
not
the military.
necessarily their decision to start the war. You know what I mean? They're just over there putting in the work and putting their lives on the line because of it.
Yeah.
That they get the utmost respect.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it even has to come to that. You'd think that we were smarter than that at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah, you'd like to hope.
That, and I think about it from a financial standpoint too. Like, how much money do you think we have spent on every single war we have ever been in?
A dickload.
I
Why do you think we're a
guarantee
couple trillion in debt?
Yeah, I guarantee you the amount of money that we've spent on war over the last 300 years. Well, I guess 278, 6? Wait, how many? I don't know exactly how many years, but you guys get what I'm saying. We could have had a colony on Mars like 8 years ago.
I know, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
This is true.
I don't know. I kind of want to be in that group that, like, gets our first people to Mars and, like, actually can get them home. That's been, like, my thing for years that I'd love to do. Just don't talk about it a lot.
I think it'd be so scary to be the first people to go. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, yeah.
you're not coming back. And I'm
No.
sorry. I don't know if I'd want to die on another planet.
Desolate planet.
Yeah. I think I'd have some real... First off, I mean, because basically all the people they're going to be taking to start off with is engineers. Congratulations, Vinny.
Hey.
Just because it's going to be... I mean, they're literally... The rest of their lives, they're just going to be building a settlement. You know what I mean? So it's like... I don't know. I think it's fascinating, but that we even have the technology to do so. But
I wonder if it's going to be more of a thing where it's kind of utopian, where, like, you do your job, you get fed, you get water, you get all that. But also,
yeah, probably.
like,
Actually, maybe.
where,
I feel like it's
or is it
gotta
going to be like,
I mean,
oh, you get paid, but you still have to pay the general store
There'll be no crime rate.
for everything? There's still going to be some
No.
asshole that starts a fight or whatever.
Let's not do capitalism on the next world. That's just gonna lead to some greed, and then there's gonna be poor people on Mars, and I don't know if we want that.
I don't think there's, like,
Mars poverty.
I love
Mars
how...
poverty rate. It's gone
I
up,
don't know.
dude.
I think the Mars poverty rate will be like, I don't know. Oh, I'm only a millionaire, not the billionaire like the other dude next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, what makes him
Maybe.
so special? We all got here at
Except,
the
you
same
know how
time.
much it's gonna cost you to order a banana from Earth? It's probably gonna cost you $6 billion because they have to fly that shit all the way there, dude. Straight
They'll
up.
probably force you to fucking
Amazon
grow your
Prime.
own banana tree.
Probably. Those
Anyways,
bastards.
bananas are going extinct. Just saying. But yeah, I get that.
They probably will make a new banana that's like the
Genetically
banana we
engineered
eat
banana.
right now. Mm-hmm.
Now, I hope they make the
We're
old
gonna call it
banana.
the Jenna banana.
The OG. Holy fuck! Juan, come down the tunnel.
Oh
If
god.
we have the technology to genetically engineer all our food, why do we still have a hunger problem in the world?
I don't think we have the technology to genetically
Because
engineer
vegans.
our food.
Well, don't we?
Vegans.
I was under the impression that we alter our food all the time.
We like can do
know what I mean?
some
We make it
genetic
bigger, we make
modifications, but like
Yeah.
not like we can't like make our own like banana from the ground up. We have to have like a beginning source.
Gotta have a base product.
Yeah, rule of equivalent exchange, bro.
Mm.
Please get that reference.
I do not actually. What's that from?
I do not either.
It's from
Full Metal Alchemist.
yeah.
Oh. I don't know, dude.
All right,
I just...
so now that we kind of talked about all that shit, right?
crazy shit.
What are you guys' takes on the media glorifying war? I know we touched base on it a little bit.
Well, I think with
But
media,
like
you
Hollywood,
can-
games, media,
Yeah.
movies. I mean,
think
shit.
that
Look
we
Rambo?
associate ourselves more positively with negative imagery, and we find it more interesting than positive imagery. So, when a war in real life is happening, or we're playing a video game where we get to shoot people in the face for like an hour and a half, you know, we like that, as opposed to maybe seeing the good.
Well, I was gonna say, you know,
people
look
in
at
situations.
look at the new Call of Duty that came out.
Yeah,
World War
World War
II.
II. Straight up.
There you
We
go.
want it back to the
I
simple
bet
days
someone's
where we can
grandpa
just
is
shoot each
pissed
other.
that this game came out. Straight up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Didn't they have veterans play this game?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That sounds like they're trying to get beat up.
They
I would not
want
wanna be a
somebody to
veteran
have a
and play this
PTSD attack.
Yeah, no shit.
Imagine a grandpa who actually is like a World War II survivor.
Yeah. How
Right.
terrible is that? They're like, oh, there goes Johnny again and again and again, and just keep reliving the same horror story for like the next 2 hours. It sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not what I want to do. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of hypocrite about this, right? Because I love Modern Warfare 2. I think that was
Oh,
my
yeah, no, it's fun.
favorite game I've ever played. But again,
great.
it's a war game. It's a war game.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. It could see it from both sides, but I honestly don't think little kids should be playing it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either, but of course there's bad parents out there, so what are you gonna do? My kid can play Call of Duty, stop yelling at him on a rated R game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember when Halo used to be violent.
Halo's pretty much
Yeah.
just Care Bears in suits now. Yeah.
It really
That's
is.
Lon, are you making it a double wide?
I was
at least
doing
make
that the entire
stairs.
time.
Can you make stairs?
I don't know how to make stairs.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I don't know. Oh,
Vinny, I'm
Like-
not.
I like the concept of
What's up?
Halo, like fighting aliens in space. You know?
I'm not trying to start some shit, but I just got like I got 95 kills last round, and I think this round I'm already at like 23.
Yeah, I'm at 23.
But
Again,
I
right there,
literally
you
ended
know?
last round with 95. Yeah.
No, we're not playing zombies.
No, we're just playing multiplayer. That's why I'm giggling so hard, because these kids are bad.
Okay. It's kind of
But,
fun
no,
having
I mean,
us all play
right there.
different games.
You know, we're like, oh yeah. You know, we're like, oh yeah, sweet. Cool.
That dude's
we're
arm
playing
fell
war games
off.
now. Yeah, I just got 93 kills. Dude, you're a fucking legend, you know? And they're like, I shot 3 people back in the day, and now I have PTSD for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
kind of
with
touch
that,
on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Which is actually, I kind of wanted to touch back on the technological advances of war, and I kind of am curious to see. We were talking about this a little earlier. I was kind of curious to see if you guys think war will ever just become. I'm not even kidding when I say this, but like cyber attacks, like DDoSing other countries. In a
yeah,
sense.
the cyber warfare. Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll just become cyber warfare as opposed to everything else.
You know, and I think then I think cyber is going to become its own entity.
I can see that.
So it'll definitely be interesting on how they go about it.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Dude,
I
real
think
quick,
the
our
other
teammates
scary
fucking
thing.
suck.
Oh, I know they're terrible. I think the other kind of scary thing is the development of the EMP, because you're talking about something that could potentially knock out power in our country for like a decent amount of time, which
Yeah.
pretty impressive, if I may say so myself. Like bravo, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Please don't use it, but especially our grid, because I mean our infrastructure it's I don't want to say it's outdated, but it is. I mean it needs improvements. And
Technically, I
I
have
think
two separate power grids.
we do
We have a West
But-
Coast and an East Coast.
East Coast.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you detonate an EMP in the Central Coast, because that's a thing,
Yeah.
it's going to
Central
reach the
Coast.
East and West Coast.
Yeah. You take
All
out
3 coasts are going to go down.
all 3
Yeah.
coasts.
All 3 coasts: south, north, east,
coasts.
west. That's 3, right?
God, I hate this game.
The reason why we have
EMPs
2
are
different
fascinating.
electricity grids is because they have different rates. So one's like 55 hertz and one's 60 hertz power. So you can't have a mix, or else you'd have boom. And and if you wanted it all to mix, you'd have to change a bunch of shit. I like sharing random bits of useless knowledge.
No, I love that.
Oh yeah, it's AC current. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. That's a great fact.
Oh yeah, one will get overloaded and fry circuits and essentially blow up from the power. It's just too much raw power.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know.
Good. Use your.
I'm scared for like if another country actually does nuke us, having to do with the Fallout. Like I've played Fallout games, and it's like I wouldn't want to deal with this.
Dude, bottle caps is currency. I'm telling you.
Indoor plumbing, it's gonna be big.
Oh my God, what is that from? Mulan or Hercules?
Hercules.
Wait, Hercules. Oh my God, that's classic, dude. Indoor plumbing. It's gonna be big.
Love that movie.
I'm trying to think. It's so great.
Though it's like
It's one of my favorite
completely
Disney movies, for sure.
inaccurate to the actual like
Doesn't matter.
Hercules fable.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't matter. It's fantastic.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie though. I do enjoy the war movies.
I
Right,
do too. I think
battle-
I like them less for
Battle
the gore
LA.
and the fighting. See, I don't like the war movies that focus so much on the fight. I like the war movies kind of telling the tale of like what these people
Like American Sniper.
actually experience. Yeah. Yes, that was a great movie.
Band of
That-
Brothers.
That movie was very
Band of Brothers
propaganda.
is flawless. Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was, and that's fine. But it still had a good story because I liked the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I like
But
that.
Band of
that
Brothers.
guy.
Band of Brothers might
The
be
HBO.
a great example. Battle of the Pacific, or what's it called? It's just called Pacific. That was the other HBO on the other side of it. That was
Come on,
great
there's
too.
stairs in the case up there. Want to just get the stairs that I've already made and put them here?
Yeah, we'll do that.
When did we lose the Lord of Cum?
He texted us.
I
he
just
was
noticed
having-
that too.
Hi guys. Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Technical difficulties.
Cream pie is back. Hello.
Yes, it is I. Come shot.
I'm waiting for
Coming
the
back
YouTube
from us
comment
from
that's
Mars.
like, how did you not see that? Because I wasn't looking for it.
God damn, I just got shoveled.
Do you guys think we'll have a water crisis before our time is up here?
Have you been to California?
Yes.
No.
Dirt drought
is that
is
a
over.
state?
Ish.
basically
I
have been
mean-
living in a water crisis for like years.
Is it a state?
I mean, we're out of the water crisis right now.
But
Got
did
a
you guys
bunch
see
of
the
rain.
thing where South Africa is going to be not South the whole country? I think there's just one city in South Africa is going to be out of their water supply in like 60 days or less, something like that.
No shit.
Yeah, because they haven't had
did
rain
not.
in over they haven't had rain in 3
Oh yeah,
years.
one of those cities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. That just means less people we need to care about. Just
No,
kidding. That's
dude,
super
that's
dark.
like-
God want.
Super dark.
Oh my
But
God,
in
Fluff.
a sense, like that's kind of a big deal, you know, like.
The water's
I
coming
think
out.
I hate the fact too that our Earth is 80% fucking water and we can't drink any of it. Like, have we not developed a way to drink salt water yet?
There
No,
is.
there's ways
Yes.
to do it.
Yes, it's expensive.
not-
Is it not
fucking
cost effective?
shit. It is
Yeah, it's
expensive.
not.
We need to find a
financially
way to make
viable.
that cheap because that would literally end.
They do
water.
it on massive naval ships actually already.
Good.
Do that stuff so that they can be out for like years at a time if need be.
If need be, yeah.
If we go into massive nuclear war, our ships probably don't have to come back for freaking ever. Because
That's
Why
they
would they
have
wanna come back?
they have
I
high
wouldn't come back.
like a
Nothing come back to you.
high fuck. They have highly enriched uranium for their reactors, so they don't have to resupply like very often at all. And they have
Well, I mean,
everything they need to stay out.
Mother
on-
Nature is already starting its cleansing process of us humans on Earth.
Or
It hasn't
plague.
snowed in forever.
I know. I was thinking about
I mean,
that.
not even that.
What are you thinking?
I just think
Well, I mean, think about it. You got
storms are getting worse.
some
Droughts are
Tide
getting
some of the
worse.
pods.
Africans without water, right?
Yeah.
You got
The Tide
No
Pod
snow.
fad.
Tide pods.
That's
idiots
that's
eating Tide Pods.
Darwinism right there.
Let natural selection
Nah,
just take
but
its
I mean-
place. If you feel compelled to eat a Tide Pod, eat it. Fuck you. See what happens.
You deserve.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, let's. It's like that comedian says, let's start taking some labels off shit. If you don't know that you can't drink
That's
gasoline,
what I'm saying, dude.
let them shove that shit down their throat and see what happens. I really don't care anymore. I don't mind saving people that can actually contribute to this goddamn world, but if a dude wants to drink gasoline, I'm gonna be fine without him on this planet. You know what I mean?
I was watching a video the other day where a
Yep.
kid got angry and punched his way through like a glass wall or something, and it's like, the longer I'm on this earth, the less I want to be here.
Dude, I just ended both of those games with a combined of like 190 kills.
Yeah, I got 51 that match.
So one, if you follow where I went,
Good lord.
we have so much crap here that it will not be hard to get whatever we need.
I don't know, man. It'll definitely be interesting. You think if we get the AI capability, that we'll just use them for war instead of humans anymore? And then if that's the case,
okay.
if that's the case, what happens if they revolt? Literally a Terminator.
Okay, we kind of touched on this when we had our AI conversation, what was that, 3 weeks ago? But I genuinely think that the next evolution of human is going to be incorporating technology into your body. So it's going to be, my eyes don't work, replace that shit with metal eyes. My arms and legs
Your new
don't
name is
work.
Metal
Yeah.
Eyes.
Your name
It
is
don't
Metal Eyes.
work.
Like,
Oh God!
Tin
But I'm-
pigs.
Dick Eyes.
I'm not kidding. We'll start evolving to a point where we're going to have technology in our bodies because what we're dealing with in front of us, as far as our body, isn't going to be good enough. Know what I mean?
Austin, you got so lucky.
And
Sorry.
I think
How?
that can be incorporated into war.
Oh my
I'm
God!
watching your
Because
stream.
it'll make us faster, stronger. It's like advanced warfare all over again.
I have no
actually.
idea where I am.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
But you're
No,
talking
kinda
like some
going-
Terminator shit, is what you're
Yeah.
referring to, like where AI takes over.
And we already
takes
talked
over
about
the
that.
world. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
We already talked about that in our AI discussion. We might touch base on that again because that
That's
could be a
big
whole
conversation.
episode in its own.
Yeah. No shit.
Wait, was
That's
that
for sure.
discussion when I was dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
It was.
Yeah, that's when you were
that was
dead.
interesting.
Which brings us to our next topic. How is Austin's love
Ghosts.
life?
What's up?
So we're
How
at
is Austin's
56
love life?
minutes, actually, so I think this is a
Nope.
good time to
4
wrap it
minutes
up,
for you to
boys.
explain. Shut up. Explain it. Come on. I want to hear it. That was the date.
Next time on DBZ.
Oh.
No,
Nope.
come on.
Nope.
You're not getting
No.
out
No.
of
You gotta
Pre-
do it. You told us you
Ah.
Previously on Dragon Ball Z. No
I don't even
trademark.
remember what I said.
No trademark.
Oh, hold on. Let me pull
Please
it
don't
up.
sue us.
Pull it up. Nope. 1 sec.
I have no one.
Come back next week and find out if I went on a date or
Go
not.
to the house, get the map,
Nope.
tell me where I am.
I have a map.
Cool. All right. You can tell us that on your way.
Okay,
To
okay,
telling
I'll
us how the
tell
date
you on
went.
my way home.
Let's hear it.
Um,
Yep. You're on your way home right now.
So,
I threw my map.
when was this? Was this okay? So Wednesday, Thursday,
Last week.
Friday we went to a bar called Mingles, which is just
Was
a
it for
place where you
singles?
can play pool. It's like
And
it's
drink.
fairly cheap. So before that, me and her went to Qdoba for dinner. Hung out, then we came
Classic.
back and hung out with
Love it.
Juan, and we went and played pool. I got a hug when I dropped her off at the house.
Yes.
And by a
That's-
hug, you mean put it in her.
No.
Hug.
No, just hug. Don't move too fast. Don't ruin the
Oh.
suspense.
regular?
We are on 2 separate wavelengths then. Sorry.
Well,
No, don't
she
do it.
just broke up with her boyfriend like at the beginning of the semester, and I don't want to push too hard because I also feel like I'm
Exactly.
kind of in the
Good.
friend zone. But I'm gonna see if she wants to go see Black Panther next Wednesday. Juan, where the
Girl, you
fuck
show
am
it.
I?
What's the strategy to
Girl,
know
man,
if you,
you,
are or not in the friend zone?
Then
Showing her his Black Panther.
Yes. But at the same time, like I don't have a lot in
If she
common with
says
her, so I'm
no-
worried like it's
You're
gonna
right
be
beneath me.
awkward.
Dig up.
I'm not anywhere
If you
near
offer,
you.
if you offer to show her your Black Panther and she says no, well, you're friend zoned. I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
Well, I kind of like I made the joking offer when she was over for the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, she came over for the Super Bowl and I made wings.
Oh, 2 dates.
Ooh.
Yeah, but
Nice.
I
She's a
also
screamer.
Done.
She's a screamer.
Screaming at the
Stay under
football.
bus.
yeah, she screamed at the fucking television. Juan, where the hell am I? I'm gonna come to your room.
You're right beneath me.
I'm
Climb up.
not.
Dude, fuck these grenades.
God damn it. I hate shotguns.
All right, so now what's next steps for Mr. Track over here? That way we can say, tune in next week.
So you'll actually be meeting her Saturday because we're doing another group going to Mingles and playing pool. Which
Does she
way
have
is
That
any
it
means
going?
you have to
single
set it
friends?
all up. You have to wingman. It's all the weight is on your shoulders, Vinny.
Oh.
What was
Oh,
your
Oh, here-
nickname? Tin Can or fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna talk
Dizzy.
direct. I'm gonna talk
Dizzy.
directly to our viewers here. Fluffy is very much like Lord Cummington in that they're great friends, but they're terrible wingmen because they start off like helping it.
whoa.
Hey, shut up. They start off helping you, right? And then as the night goes on, because I'm a slow mover, they get bored and they hit on the girl. And then
Well, I mean,
I'm driving
okay,
them
to-
both
to our
home
defense.
with the girl that I was trying to get with.
same time.
So that they can fuck
Same time.
the girl instead of me. So I have a feeling that
I
the
have never
PM
done that. I
Mr.
have
Fluffy's
never
gonna
dated
end
the
up,
girl
like,
that you
hanging out.
wanted.
because
No,
last
I
time
will
that
not
you
do that.
almost did that, I flipped the fuck out and I was like, I'm going back to the fucking hotel room.
But granted,
Remember that?
it was 9 hours.
This was
Tune
hours
in next time.
later. Like
Will
many
Vinny be a
hours
good wingman?
later.
Will he go home with her women? Who knows? Stay tuned for the next episode of The Realm 13.
Thanks,
Oh, that's
bitches. We'll see you
fantastic.
next week.